Hey beautiful people, my name is Shelly and this is my channel, Shell's Face. Today we're doing a December TBR. I don't usually do TBR videos because I am a mood reader through and through. Like if you put any structure to my reading, I will instantly fight against it. So I don't do TBRs because I feel like it gives me a lot of stress and then I feel bad that I don't read the books that I said I was gonna read. So let's just say I don't make TBR videos, but since it is the last month of the year and I have a ton of series that I want to finish out because I have a problem with reading the last book in a series for some reason, I don't know why. So I have a couple here that I can finish out by the end of the year for sure if I wanted to, but will I? Probably not. And then there's also some new series that I want to start and continuing series. So I figure I'll make a video and quickly chat about the ones that I am going to prioritize. I have all sorts of genres in this pile, so I have lots to choose from. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I have created a little TBR shelf here for myself. And that is so I actually read the books that I own. So they're here in my face at all times, so I can see them, so I will actually read them. So I'm going to talk about those books. If that sounds like something that you would enjoy, stick around. Let's get to it. So the first book I would like to talk about is The Dark Forest by Cixin Liu. This is the second book in the Remembrance of Earth trilogy. I read Three Body Problem a couple months ago and really enjoyed the fresh look at a sci-fi, like a typical sci-fi trope, which is first contact. The first book, I really loved some parts about it, but other parts I got really bored with, but I heard that it just gets better and better with each book. I'm really excited to kind of continue on with like this trilogy and see First Contact from a different perspective. For sure, I have literally no idea what this is about, but I believe it is like a direct continuation. What I like about these stories, although it's not character driven per se, it is a study on humans and like human nature, and not in the best light either. So I'm kind of really looking forward to reading and continue on and kind of like diving deeper into that whole experience. The Netflix show did get postponed. It was supposed to be released in January on Netflix, but it got pushed back like a lot of things. So I still have some time to read this book and then the final book before the show comes out. The next book I have on my TBR pile is The Girl in the Mountain by Mark Lawrence. This is the second book in the Ice trilogy by Mark Lawrence. I read The Girl in the Stars probably in the spring, and I've been kind of holding back, waiting for it to get cold so I could really feel it. But where I live, it's been announced that it's going to be a warm summer, so there's not going to be very much snow, which sucks because usually at this time there's snow and I was waiting for it. But I really, really, really want to get to this book because it is, one, short. Two, it is a unique fantasy. Like it takes place in almost like a post-apocalyptic world and there is like sci-fi elements to it. It's strange, and I believe it's in the same universe as The Red Sister. I can't remember the name of the trilogy, but The Red Sister and then the following books, I think it's in the same world. I don't know if it's a prequel or it takes place after because I never finished The Red Sister. That's a series that I'm probably going to start. Mark Lawrence is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors, mainly because I love The Book That Wouldn't Burn so much. And the fact that he started Spippo just makes me want to read more of his stuff. So I don't really have an interest in his Grimdark series, but I definitely love The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and I'm really enjoying the Ice trilogy, and I think I'll probably continue on. Once I'm done the Ice trilogy, I'll probably continue on and reread Red Sister and that series. So this is high on my priority list. I'm probably going to be physically reading this because it is shorter. I'm really excited to jump back into this world and see what happens next because it is very unpredictable. One thing I have to say about Mark Lawrence, he's a really unpredictable writer. Like you don't know where things are going until you get there, and I love that. The next series on my TBR is I keep wanting to say We Hunt the Stars. No, it's just Hunt the Stars by Jessie Myahelk. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. I know that I'm going to read this month because I've already started it. I'm like 3 chapters and I'm listening to the audiobook, and so far I'm getting like massive expanse feels from this, but I think this is more like on a Y level. I don't know. It feels YA. You can kind of tell YA book by the price on the back. So this one is 20 Canadian, which is like $16.99 US. So it might actually be YA. You can kind of tell because the adult books are more expensive, and the YA books are cheaper. So I'm not sure which the one this is. If it's not YA, it's like new adult. So it really reminds me of The Expanse. It's a sci-fi series. There's aliens. There's a telepathic space fox, which is like their companion, which I freaking love. Like, I love that idea. I would be so happy if my dog could talk to me telepathically. And I believe this is enemies to lovers space opera. You're already talking about things like PTSD and complicated relationships. So there's adult topics in it. So we'll see. So far, I'm liking it. It's starting off to a really good point, but again, 3 chapters in, can't really tell much about it yet. So I will definitely be reading this because I already am. Another book that I really want to read in December is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I read Rebecca Ross's duology, The Elements in Candace, like last month and really enjoyed it. So I'm like really eager to continue on with the rest of her works, especially since this is her newer series. And I believe this is only going to be a duology. And the last book in the duology is coming out or has come out recently. So it's like kind of the best time to read this. I don't know much about this besides the fact that it's enemies to lovers. It has dark magic, and I believe it's in the past, maybe like 1920s or Victorian style. I'm not sure, but it is like a historic time. Everybody who I've heard talk about this say that it is such a great book. It is a duality, it's short. Especially since I've been reading a lot of urban fantasies lately, I kind of am feeling that this might scratch that itch perfectly. So yes, I will be physically reading this because it is on the shorter end. So I'm really looking forward to this because, like I said before, I really enjoyed the Elements of Candace duology, so I'm hoping to continue on with enjoying this one. The next book on my TBR pile is Destiny by Elizabeth Hayden. I've had this book on my TBR for 6 months, I think. Okay, and the reason why is not because I don't like it. It's the reason why is because it's a chunker and I have to physically read it because the audiobook is no good. It's not good. I'm sorry. I listened to a sample of it on Audible, and yeah, it's a male narrator, which I found confusing because the main character is a female POV and it's written by, anyways, it doesn't matter. I didn't jive with it, so I have to physically read it. So yeah, that's the only reason. It's like 1,000 pages long, teeny weeny little font. It's just going to take me a long time, and I've just kind of been putting it off. But I want to finish the first trilogy in the Symphony of Ages series because I plan to read the entire series. It's just taken me a lot longer than I thought, but it's okay. But this is actually a reread for me, and that's another reason why I'm like kind of not more motivated to read it because I already read it. But that was such a long time ago that honestly it's basically like a read for the first time. So this one I feel like should be a higher priority, but knowing myself, it probably won't. But I'm hoping to finish it by the end of the year, which is in 3 weeks. Okay, and the last 4 are kind of like honorable mentions, being like I may read them, I may not. So they're the maybes of the maybes, and so I'm just going to quickly go through them right now. The first one being The Art of Destiny by Wesley Chow. This is a really, like, I read Art of Prophecy a couple months ago and I loved it. It was just such a perfect blend of so many different genres. You have martial arts, you have humor, you have like an epic magic system. There's like a really steampunk inspired world, and the characters are really well developed. So obviously I want to read this book, but the next book in the series has not been announced yet. I'm trying to space them out so I don't have to reread the first book and then the second before going on to the second book. So yeah, so that's the only reason why it's a maybe, but I do really want to read it. If anything, it'll be a January, February read. The next book that I may read, and purely because I just want to finish the series, it's not because I have a desire to read it. It's not that it's a bad series, it's just there's so many good series out there that are waiting to be read, that I feel like I've gotten everything out of what I've wanted out of the series, but I do want to know what happens at the end. And that is For the Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent. This is her, I always forget the name of the series, The War of the Lost Hearts trilogy. This is for lovers of Sarah J. Maas. and Iron Flame and all that stuff. But I feel like this one is better representative for like epic fantasies with a romantic plot. And the characters are an actual believable couple. Like you understand why they like each other, why they're like going to the ends of the earth and back for each other. Because of that, I really like it. But for me, the story was too closely, like it reminded me of Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I read the series and it did what it did. So honestly, I'm really looking for fresh new reads. But I recommend this to people who do love Sarah J Maas and do love the Iron Flame series and want to keep going with that kind of feel. This is probably a really good book. Plus, her other series, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, is really popular right now. But personally, I think that this series is better. Like I said before, the only reason that it is on here is because I want to complete the series by the end of the year. But I haven't been feeling romantasy as of late. So yeah, so this is a maybe. So the next book is a maybe I don't own the physical copy of, and that is Bloodbound by Patricia Briggs. That is the second book in the Mercy Thomas series, which I started Moon Called. I just finished it yesterday and I really enjoyed it. So if I'm feeling like I want to get back into urban fantasy, I think I'll probably lean towards that. I was planning to start Magic Bites by Alona Andrews, but I think that I just need to complete more series before starting more series. And I did start like the first chapter and it was just more or less the same, but I found Magic Bites has a little bit more of a magical element than Marcy Thomas. Marcy Thomas is more like in our world, like with our technology and stuff. But Magic Bites, I think, is futuristic. It takes place in 2040, and there's like magic. They have like magic wards. They use like their technology is, I think, is magic. I don't know. It was already getting into like that murder mystery kind of thing, and I'm just like, you know what? I really have so many books I need to prioritize. So if I feel like going back into urban fantasy, it will be to continue on with Mercy Thomas. And then last book I would like to mention that is like on the maybe pile, that is Rise of Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. This is book 3 and 4 in Raya Revelation. And I feel like I want to really complete this series sooner than later because his newest book, I can't remember the name of it, I'll put it here, is coming out very soon, and from what I heard, it's like a combination of Rhaenyra and Legends of the First Empire, so you really need to be caught up with everything before continuing on with it. So I think I want to finish Rhaenyra and then start on to the next trilogy, which I can't remember the name of. I'll put it here. The reason why I also really want to read it is because I love Michael J. Sullivan's writing. It's very cozy. It's very comfortable. His characters are just so likable. They're just so likable. And the bromance in this is like, if you've heard people talk about Michael J. Sullivan and the bromance of his story, it's true. It is true. This is like the best friendship. And honestly, I would love to read more friendship books, like where they're actually friends, not just like serving the purpose of the plot. So I'm leaving this to when I need a pick-me-up or I really want to experience a good old-fashioned fantasy fun time. I think that this is going to be higher on my maybe list than the other 3 I just mentioned. So that was my last TBR of 2023. Hopefully I will be able to get to at least a chunk of these, the ones that I mentioned, and I don't get distracted by other books or new releases that I want to read. I really need to prioritize my physical books and cut down on some series for sure. That really needs to be a goal for 2024. You can find me on Instagram and Goodreads. I'm more active on Goodreads. As always, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!